bills, like so many cities around this country. San Bernardino, $45 million in the hole. The city of 210,000 people is among the largest in the nation ever to declare bankruptcy. It becomes California's third city in just weeks to go broke. Where's all this going to end in California? Folks are not happy there.
Another city in California is going down. A reorganization, whatever you say, is bankruptcy. Credit ratings going down, contracts are wide open, everything's open now.
Boy, depressing situation. Charles Payne of the Fox Business Network joins me. Charles, what do you make of it, and how many more dominoes to fall in this game?
Well, one thing's for sure, Martha, more dominoes will fall. And you know what's interesting about San Bernardino is that they actually made some concessions over the last few years. They cut their public workforce. They've even had some city worker concessions, salary concessions. So I think one of the underlying stories here that we could probably focus on is that if you wait too long to make concessions, you can still end up hitting a brick wall, which is exactly what happened with San Bernardino.
You know, I was just, we'll be talking with the mayor of Scranton this morning. We've been covering that story over the past couple of days. You know, and it's a stark reality. He's a Democratic mayor of Scranton who has pushed everybody's paycheck down to minimum wage, who work in the fire department, the police department, and some other areas of the government. They have $5,000 left in the bank after the current payroll gets covered.
And it's so interesting because one of the sound bites I heard from the mayor yesterday of Scranton, he mentioned he didn't have a money printing machine. So, you know, typically that's something you might hear from a real fiscally conservative Republican.
Yeah.
And to your point, not necessarily a Democrat. And again, this all points to the fact that no matter what side of the aisle you're on, if you spend more money than you take in, ultimately there's a serious price to pay. It's a message for a lot of small cities. It's a message for our country. And sadly, this news is going to continue. I want to also just add one little aside. A couple of days ago, there were two murders in San Bernardino, bringing the total so far for the year to 22. Last year, all they had was 30. You know, when we talk about these things, it's not just economics, it's just not the wallet, but we talk about the deterioration of an entire community, ultimately perhaps an entire nation, when these things aren't solved.
You're so right. The crime rate goes up and the storefronts are empty in so many of these towns. And a lot of it goes back, just one last thought, Charles, if you could, to these pension agreements that we're going to talk about with the mayor.
You're absolutely right. They were lavish to begin with. They were extraordinary. We love our firefighters. We love our teachers, but we overpaid them. We overpromised them. Just the notion that somehow some manager was going to return 8% a year, first and foremost, as the basis for offering some of these things was outrageous to begin with. Now they have to be clawed back and redone. And it's a shame because they were promises, but unfortunately, to secure a brighter future for kids living in these cities and towns and states, it must be done.
Yeah, the new normal. And we're just trying to make it normal.